individual who feels completely into this circle of being a very wise man and becoming the biggest rascal, getting into trouble, getting a chance to correct himself, he makes the correction and he becomes perfected. Okay? He said, Ekada, once upon a time. You know what is the story I'm going to tell you? Now this is the 6th canto. I'm just starting a new book now. I finished the old book with a description of a hellish planet. Okay? So hell part is understood. So now you know where the problem is. Now do you want to come out of the problem? Now the next chapter is going to be called the chapter of a portion. Portion means nourishment. The previous chapter was the chapter of problem. Okay, showed where the problems were. Just like, first of all, if you are a fighter and you want to attack your enemy, what is important? To find the enemy first. You have to know where the enemy hides, isn't it? You want to destroy your enemy. So before you destroy him, you have to know the areas that he is going to hide in. So you can go and, as normal, just go bomb. 1, 2, 3, 4, if you don't know where your enemy lives. So therefore, first you knew where the problem was. Now second part is how to solve a problem that we have. So he said, once upon a time, Kanya Kubja Dvija Sreshta Ajamila Puratanaha, once upon a time, in the property known as Kanya Kubja, there lived a famous Brahman by the name of Ajamil. Okay? Ajamil lived in a place called a Kanya Kubja, and that is also known as Kannauj. And Kannauj is these days known as Kanpur. Okay? So going back, Sanskrit says Kanya Kubja. And later on that became Kannauj. And Kannauj today became Kanpur. And where is Kanpur in? UP. So there was a person living in the village of Kanpur. Let's put it that way. Okay? He was a son of a perfectly qualified Brahman. Means his father was a priest. He would do everything right when it comes to the worship of the Supreme Lord, doing always tapasya, fasting in Ekadasis, doing everything right, being compassionate to the people, doing nothing wrong in his life. He was a perfect person. So as one day he was engaged in intense worship of God, he sent his son, whose name was Ajamil. He said, my dear son, can you go to forest and get me some flowers? Because we use a lot of flowers in pujas. So he says, get me some flowers from the forest. Can you go there? The son said, okay Baba, I will go to the forest, I will get some flowers for you, and I will also get some Ganga water for you. The sacred Ganges. He said, I'm going to get water from the Ganges and I will get some flowers from the forest so you can worship the Supreme Lord. So this is a nice character and qualified son that he started from. Okay? So he goes to the forest. So, as he was in the forest, he saw very inauspicious omens, in a sense. He saw a prostitute that was embracing a man. Okay? It can be very agitating. I mean, sometimes when somebody is trying to be very, just very honest and trying to be a nice person, if there is a disturbance around you, then you don't really, you can't do the things right. So he saw this. Now he was the son of a Brahman, perfect, everything. Very nice samskar. Okay? He saw this prostitute embracing a man. Then he thought, well, there is something like this in life. And it is natural for somebody who is grown up to be attracted by a woman. So he said, maybe this woman is available to everyone. He never understood the concept of prostitute. But he just thought, she looks nice, can she be mine? So he never thought of a prostitution, exploitation, but thought that I'm going to make this woman my wife. But he was already married. He had a wife at home. He had his father and mother also. He was living with them. So ultimately, the temptation. Now, in a life, there will be a problem. Problem will come. But we cannot welcome the problem. That's the next part that we have to think of. The problems, like, what is the nature of the ocean? Ocean will create waves. Yes? So whenever the waves come, the water goes higher than it's supposed to go. Isn't it? But what if you create a track for that water to get into your house? In one way, you can stop the waves. But do you have to welcome the waves? Say that I'm going to create a perfect track that whenever there is a big wave, it crosses the boundary that I have and gets into my house. So in a life, we should not welcome a problem. Most of the time, what do? We welcome it. That's the problem. So it's the nature of the world. The problem will come. Now there was a problem. Problem was that unwanted people, two groups of people embracing each other when there are no legal license or anything like that. That caused a disturbance to him. But he could have used his higher intelligence to say, no, this is not right. He did not have to welcome this disturbance of a society in his heart. But he welcomed it. Then he went. As this man walked out, because he was a prostitute, it was not a prominent relationship. So he went and said, please, can you come with me? You look beautiful. He took the prostitute to the house. And he told the prostitute, you know what? I'm married. I have parents. But my wife is not as beautiful as you. When there is eyes blocked with lust, anything looks beautiful. There is a story of a king in Puranas, that there was a king who went out hunting. So as he was hunting, he came across a donkey. And he became completely blind by the beauty of the donkey, that he never saw that donkey as a donkey anymore. He saw as a beautiful queen. And he drags the donkey to his kingdom. He says, I'm going to marry her and make my queen. So all the citizens are telling him, my dear king, this is a donkey. He says, no, this is not donkey, you are a donkey. This lust has blocked his eyes. The vision of distinction power are being blocked completely. That he is unable to even discriminate of what is this form. So ultimately, in that story, his family priest comes and tells him, you know what, you are so blind by this sense gratification. And he gave him a power to vision to see that animal as a donkey. And everything was fine. But the point is, that's where the love and the liquid beauty can take us. So just like another story comes in the scriptures, that once there was a very powerful devotee or a great personality that was a priest, and he was attracted by one individual woman who was also a great devotee of the Lord. Okay, he was attracted by her. So he proposed, saying, can you please come and meet me? Then she said, not today, after 1 week, please. I will come and meet you, but after 1 week. Can I do that? So this man said, okay, no problem. So 1 week she came, and along with her, she brought a beautiful silver pot. I think a beautiful, carved with the silver and gold, and it has a cover on the top. So she came. So the king came, and she said, I'm here to see you because I told you I was going to come after 1 week, and I'm here now. He said, that's not you. At that time you are so healthy, and you looked so beautiful that time. Now you are so skinny. You only look like a skeleton. He said, yes. The problem was that I had a constipation, and I had a very loose stomach for a week, and my beauty is here. So she opened the dhakkan, she opened the cupboard and showed stool and urine there. And he said, my all beauty was combined into this. Now when I had a problem and I became sick and all this beauty came out of my body, I look like this today. And nothing has gone anywhere, my dear man, nothing has gone anywhere. I never threw anything out of my body. Whatever came out of my body is right here in a container. You can have the container, you can have me also. So you understand the logic here? The whole life, when we get attracted into this unwanted relationship, nothing is beautiful. It's just combination of flesh and stool when together, everything looks beautiful. When there is a problem and you become sick for a week, any beauty there left? So therefore, The life is too valuable. The life's desire is to understand the supreme cause of life is to understand your relationship with God. When some type of this insignificant beauty come in between, can you give your life to it, forgetting your goal? No. So therefore, Sukadeva Goswami is hearing about this topic of Ajamin. So Ajamin went to the forest and proposed to the prostitute that please come to my home and become my wife. I have a lot of riches. I am respected in my village because I am a Brahman, I am a priest. Everyone respects you in my society. And you would be the wife of a most respected man. What is the problem? So whenever you bring a second wife, what happens? What are the demands of the second wife? That you can't have your another wife at the house, he has to be somewhere else. I can't give a time to your parents and serve them. So you have to take your wife out of house, chase her out, and you have to chase your parents. Yes? And I don't want any children from the previous one. I have to be alone. So all these conditions were there. But being blinded by this so-called beauty, he said yes to everything. So we are talking about the character of this person today, Ajamin, who was a perfect man, as we are saying. So he went to the house. The family, so elderly family, they were already 90. He robbed everything that his mother had because this prostitute had a big desires. He took everything away from their parents. As his father was sleeping at night time, he forcefully stamped him into his property and made him lose everything also. Okay? Now he had a beautiful wife. He threw his wife out of home also. None of the children were at home. So ultimately, what can a prostitute give you? So she began to have more and more desires. You need to give me this, you need to give me this. He was already bankrupted. Everything is gone. The entire beautiful family he has, everything is lost. Then she had a list of big desires. He was a very successful Brahman. So ultimately, to fulfill her desire, he ended up being a butcher, a hunter. He went hunting in the forest. He would rob people, not hunting the animals. He would go to the forest wherever there are elderly people without any help, walking by. If he sees a little bit of gold in the hand or a little bit of something else somewhere, he would just kill them and just take the property away and take it to his prostitute. This is the life he lived. Okay? So from that prostitute, he had 9 children. Big father. 9 children. Now, 9 of them were all daughters. And ultimately, there is a pressure in India कि एक बेटा हो तो फिर एक बेटी भी होनी चाहिए, एक बेटी हो तो दूसरा बेटा होनी चाहिए. So there is a concept that he was trying to have a son. After having a first daughter, he was trying to have a son, and he had 9 daughters. He did not understand that whatever Krishna gives, now more children, more families. This concept of having, daughters or having a son, here is this concept. Why it really came? When people don't want to be responsible for themselves. Okay? In India especially, when you have concept of having a beta, why is that? Because we have this concept of a pinda dan after dying. Yes? Beti pinda nahi kar paayegi. To beta chahiye. Or, the daughter will not be able to perform a last rites for her parents because she actually changes the surname and the surname becomes that of a husband. So unless you are of the same surname, you cannot do this type of thing. But what the scriptures are saying is that you are stupid, you living entities. Why are you depending on the rituals? Why can't you polish your life and be a perfect devotee of the Lord that you don't need any rituals? You do devotee service such a way that you don't need a ritual. You attain Him. The way is a question of Pindadan. So Vedically, the title of daughter was what? When you have a daughter in a house, how was the daughter addressed? Daughter is called Lakshmi Devi. Daughter is Lakshmi. She brings all auspicious to the house. Therefore they are Lakshmi. Now what is the title to Narayan? Son is not necessarily Narayan, but yes, daughter is called Lakshmi. The scriptures give more emphasis to that. And if you look into society, the daughters are more loving to the parents than son. Son brings more corruption to the house. But I have one daughter, one son, but I am not looking at that. And this can be seen. As we see in a society, the daughters are naturally very dear. But in case of Ajamil, he went on. And ultimately, he had one child. He had one son. Now, he lost the dint of his piety completely. He had no piety within him. He forgot everything about the spiritual path. Nothing was left. Zero. A prostitution, manhunting, stealing, cheating his parents and sending them out of house, and cheating his previous wife. What can be more sinful? Anything left to do for him? Nothing is left over. He did everything in his life. And now the point is, when somebody does good all of his life, and all of a sudden, due to some reason, some bad come, there is always a soft corner, I would say, for the good activity. So one day there were great sages by the name of Narad Muni and other sages. They were traveling, and they wanted to spend a night at a place which was very sanctified. So they went to the village of Kanpur, and they asked the local, we want to spend a night here, and can you tell us where the perfect Brahman, a perfect, the person lives in this village? So they taunted, or they jokingly told these sages, yeah. There is this guy by the name of Ajamil, he's very pure. Bahut acha aadmi hai, jao. So they traveled. So he went to the house of this man. The sages went to the house of the man. And the wife says, who are you? They say, we are the great sages. But now the wife began to develop this, although she was a prostitute, but she had a great respect to the sages also. She said, please, can you go from here? Don't stay here. If my husband comes, he's going to kill you. Okay? So I please request you, please leave away from here. Don't stay around. My husband is a good killer. He's been doing that. And top of that, he does not like when the great, a priest and the speaker of religion will come here, because he's so sinful that anyone that talks about God, he doesn't like it anymore. So please go away. So then they said, they understood the situation. They said, okay, no problem, but we have one request from you. It looks like you are pregnant today. It looks like you are having a child. So can we request you one thing? Then the prostitute said, okay, at least do one thing. We are the priest. I know your husband is not going to call any priest for the namkaran or purification part. So we tell you, when you have that child, it's going to be a son. And why don't you name this child a Narayan? Narayan is one of the names of God. Okay? Narayan basically means the resting place of all living entities. That's called Nara is us. Yanam means Vishram. The resting place of all living entity is the Dham of Lord Narayan. So therefore, this name was offered to, or they requested the mother, saying that please at least name this son a Narayan. So okay, she never gave much importance. But when the child was born, she remembered, those sages, those priest sages, they asked me to name him Narayan. So let me name. So ultimately the son was born, and the child grew up, and Ajamil had this last son at the age of 82. He was very old. So he had his son. So by the time the son became 4.5, he became very sick. He's in his deathbed. By nature, the prostitute is a prostitute. So one man became useless. What did she do? She went for the next man. Finished. So for whom he gave a whole life, left him right there. So the child is there at the home with the father. Father is dying, and he is at last point of his life. So he sees that he is very close to death, and within his death he could see that the message carrier of Yamraj, they came with glaring eyes, 3 eyes with hairs that were red like a fire, and they had